Hello, and welcome back to Community Voices, coming to you from Radnor Studio 21 in downtown Wayne. I'm your host, AnnaMarie Jones. I can't wait to introduce you to today's guest. Our first guest is Executive Director and founder of PAWS for People, Lynne Robinson. Lynne founded the PAWS program in 2005, and 14 years later, Lynne and her wonderful team have grown the program into the success it is today. PAWS for People has earned the Daily Points of Light Award, which honors individuals and volunteer groups that have made a commitment to connect Americans through service to help meet critical needs in their communities. PAWS received the 2007, 2008, and 2010 Delaware Governor's Award for Outstanding Volunteerism, and in 2018, the Delaware Governor's Outstanding Volunteer Service Award in category of Human Needs. And really, the list goes on. With Lynne today is Tory. He's a beautiful golden retriever and a heart of gold to match. Welcome, Lynne and Tory.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
Can you tell us about your buddy here? So adorable.
Yes, we'll see what he does. This is Tory. He's 2.5 years old. Okay. He's a golden retriever, and when he was a puppy, somehow he was like the perfect puppy. I'm not sure how I got lucky about that. But when we went through testing, he passed all his tests at advanced level right away, which means we can do any kind of visiting that PAWS offers. So although he looks like he's tired, if he were visiting with the kids that are next door, he would be up and ready, and I can get him up for you if you want him up.
Yeah, let's say hi to Tory.
Come on, say hi. Say hi to AnnaMarie.
Hey, bud.
Yeah, give her
How
some
are
good
you?
time.
How
there
are
you go.
So, Lynne, can you tell me, let's
sweetie.
backtrack a second.
Okay.
Can you tell me what the acronym PAWS for People stands for?
Thank you for asking, because most people just think it's PAWS, but the real name, our legal name for the business is PET, that's a P, assisted, A, and then it's volunteer services, visitation volunteer services, which makes the W.
That's clever.
So we do business as PAWS for People because nobody can say Pet Assisted Visitation Volunteer Services Incorporated. Right. Nobody wants to say that. But that's
a
where
mouthful.
the checks go.
All right, I get it.
Yeah.
So can you tell me, how did you start this organization, and how did your background lead you or help you?
Interesting question. When we started, this little guy wasn't even born yet, so I had a dog named Boo, and he was a rescue dog out of the newspaper. He was nothing special, no special breeding or anything, but when I got him, I found out that he just was so people-focused. So if he were here instead of this one here, he would be leaning gently at your side, looking in your eyes, and just being there. And when you looked in there, it almost looked like he was looking into your soul. He was an incredible therapy dog. So people just gravitated to him, and those that were anxious seemed to calm down, and those people that were sort of depressed seemed to lighten up. And I went like, hey, this is good, I should probably share him. So we started doing some pet therapy work. As far as I'm concerned, I was an English school teacher, a public school teacher for 23 years. Had some physical difficulties, which made me had to retire early, and then did a little volunteering here, a little volunteering there. All of it had to do with reading and literacy and that kind of thing. Volunteered for my church for a while, volunteered at Christiana Hospital in their pastoral services section, and then when that intersected with the pet therapy, it was kind of like, wait a minute, this is such a wonderful opportunity for all of these different organizations to get involved with that. So the experience is, again, is a little bit working with volunteers, a little bit with organizing, a little bit with dogs, and there he's down. So there you go.
He's very calm, I'd have to say, for such a big guy.
Yeah, he's pretty calm.
Well, what is Tory up to these days? Is he working with any organizations or populations?
Now, believe it or not, he's working with 3-, 4-, and 5-year-olds. We go to a school in Bear, Delaware, that is a preschool and an early learning center. And the people there are so forward-thinking that they asked PAWS to come visit for two purposes. We have a pre-K reading program, which means we work with little ones in their pre-reading skills and pre-literacy skills. Another person does that. But they also asked us to come as a comfort dog or a comfort team. So this one goes in, believe it or not, and works with these little guys that have issues. Some of them have been traumatized, some of them have ADHD. Not all of them need special care. So we were there yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I went into a particular classroom and said, "Here we are, what do you need?" And immediately, and I won't mention the names of the child, but immediately the teacher said, I'll say Joe, Joe. And Joe was like flying across the classroom and needed to be calmed down and focused. So we went over, we were doing playing, he was doing petting. He immediately covers Tory with a blanket and becomes very, very nurturing, and he just calms down. So I think it's pretty neat that Early Learning Center understands that you don't have to be 85 or going through drug and alcohol abuse or whatever. You can have a little kid that needs a little bit of extra help too.
And you just answered one of my next questions, which was, what are some of the benefits that pet therapy provides? And right there and then you gave me an answer that, you know, with a kid with ADHD, Tory's allowing him to find some kind of comfort and calm.
Well, if I leave him alone and he'll end up over with you, that's basically what happens. I mean, I'm not petting him the whole time because he's not there for me. He's there for the person that we're visiting or the people that we're visiting. And as far as the list of benefits, I have a 9-page annotated version of all the benefits of pet therapy, but I'm not going to go through.
If you can walk me through some of the populations you work with and, you know, some of the benefits that the therapy provides for those populations, that would be great.
We do it pretty much all. So as I mentioned, 2- and 3-year-olds for the purposes that I mentioned. We also work with folks with Alzheimer's and dementia. We go into hospice situations and a little bit of everything in between. The visits are pretty much the same. What we do is our therapy teams, our trained people and dogs go in to visit, but the populations need different things. So while I would come in and say, "Hi, would you like to pet my dog?" You may be in physical and occupational therapy, maybe you had a knee replacement, so you're doing knee exercises, you're in a lot of pain. So what you need is diversion, and petting a dog and touching a dog and playing with the dog will help with that. If you are in a situation, in a mental health situation, where we go to a couple of different facilities and also the psychiatric units in a couple of hospitals, different need there. That person doesn't need to, you know, kick a ball. That person just kind of needs the normalcy and the calm and the love and the non-judgmentalness. So, you know, if you happen to be someone who was physically disabled and maybe not terribly verbal or able to move a lot, he doesn't care. So he doesn't come in and say like, "Oh, you can't move your hand." What he does is nuzzle over and make you feel like you're as normal as everybody else.
Right.
So the situation, again, goes everywhere in a hospital situation where people are not only sick, but scared and exhausted, and their families are worried about them. So when we go into a situation like that, we're not only visiting the person in the bed, but we're also visiting the relatives and especially the grandkids, because they don't know what to do and they're bored. So there's something there to give them something to do, and again, to distract them.
Right, that's wonderful. And you also, I think when we were talking beforehand, you said that you visit a women's prison.
We do. We just started that. We've been going to a couple of correctional sites in Delaware for kids, but recently we're asked to go into the correctional center, which is called Baylor. It's the only women's correctional center in Delaware. And at first it was kind of like, ooh, this sounds maybe dangerous. Do I allow my teams, that kind of thing, because I've got to be the protectorate of it. But when we went and talked to the folks there and figured out a way to make it work, yes, we have an officer that's right beside us. We have a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of guarding there. But the women that are interested, and not everybody's interested, but with the women that are interested, you get a lot of, oh, I miss my dog, or hugging, or getting down on the floor and playing a little bit. And what a nice respite for someone who is jailed and suddenly has a few minutes to just be in a natural setting with a natural creature. Again, it's not judging, not saying, you know, what did you do? But just saying, I love you, and I'll love you no matter what.
Right, and that's a gift.
Yeah, that is a gift. That is a gift.
Now, you mentioned the training that's involved.
Can you get up?
Can you walk me through the training that it takes, just basic level training, and then maybe apply the prison population to that? Is there extra training that would that the therapy team would need to then go into the prison?
Yes, and that's multi-question, so help me if I miss something.
Right, so let's backtrack to the first question.
No, I've got you. Any team that goes through PAWS for People has a relatively rigorous training. We don't just say, hi, what a nice dog, sign you up and then send you out there. Somebody has to fill out a form. Then when we get the form and do a screening, they get a phone call from a real person, pretty much, tell me about yourself, tell me about your dog, what is it you want to do, those kinds of questions. Again, we're screening all the time.
It almost feels like the vetting process to getting a dog. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just joking.
Actually, if we could put those two together, it would save some time. Once we hear the person and about the dog and go like, okay, this is a good possibility, we then invite the person to 2 different training sessions. One is an orientation, which is mostly, what are you doing? Yeah. Which is mostly there. Yes, if you pet them, that will be good. Overview of pet therapy, overview of the benefits, overview of PAWS, because we want people to know who they're getting involved with. And then we have our own certification evaluation. We try not to call it a test, but it's the test. And that's not only for the dog, but it's also for the person, because we want a team. We don't want just a nice dog. We want a good person that's going to be kind and gentle and also have control of the animal. So after that session is over, then they're invited to come back to a second session, which is all about what do you do in a situation, can you know, confidentiality, all the HIPAA laws, all those things, and a lot of visiting situations, so that when the person graduates and becomes a actual therapy team, then they have at least a little experience. So if some situation comes up in the visit that's a little bit weird, they know a little bit of what to do. Sounds like that should be all, but with us it's never enough. So
before you go into the second step, how long is the first training period?
It can, if somebody really is raring to go, we can do this in a week.
Okay.
They can come to the office and do a private setting, and my staff's not going to be happy. I just said that on TV. Because we like people to come in a group, because then they can see other people and get to know other people. Hello. But it can take as long as the person wants. I mean, sometimes people come for orientation, and then they're snowbirds and they go to Florida for 3 months. When they come back, we're ready for them, and they can finish up, and we take them from there. Yeah. So the last 2 steps that are important to know is that once someone has graduated and they've got their leash and they've got their name tag and they're all done, then whatever choice they make as to where they want to visit, and we have 182 different places in a 4-state area that are available to us where we have agreements. We take them on their first visit. So somebody in the office, somebody who really knows what they're doing, can take a brand new team and help them with, this is where the bathroom is, this is where the logbook is, this is where you don't park, talk to this one, don't, you know, do that. So by the end of the first visit, hopefully the new team feels comfortable, they know that they fit there, we know that they fit there, and the facility is happy. If it's not, then we do something else. Then after that, they're visiting, and the requirement is to visit twice a month to whatever site they have signed up for. They can sign up for more. I have one person that does 11 different types of visits a month.
Wow.
A nice retired person that has time, but wants to do children, but wants to work with elders also, would like to work with people in need. So we have all those different possibilities.
Right, so they're going to different populations, different sites. And how rewarding for both sides.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I remember a long time ago, one of my teams called and she said, I don't think I'm doing this right. And I said, Stephanie, why? What's wrong? She said, well, I think I'm getting more out of this than they are. And I said, terrific, that's great, because of course people are getting a great deal from the attention of the human, because it's one-on-one, or for whatever the person needs, the attention of the animal, the love and the fur and the warmth and all of the good things that the animal can provide. And that's great for the recipient, but for the person that's doing it, most people start with, I want to give back to the community. But what they find out is I'm now meeting a new person, I now have a new friend, I'm out in public more, my dog and I are closer because we become a team, we're partners rather than just me walking the dog down the street. So it's beneficial. And these guys get benefits because, of course, they get lots of petting and lots of love and lots of treats, and are well taken care of, because people just love to have animals, that most people love to have animals around.
Right, that's wonderful. And so that's it. And then, so if we're applying this to the prison, I don't know why I'm just so
Back
focused
to the
on
prison.
that, but
Thank you.
yeah, then what is the last ultimate step for that visit?
Okay, for a person to do that, and this is a serious visit. This is not going to assisted living where there's an elder that is lonely and really just needs to be listened to and get attention. That's a relatively easy visit. Important, but very different. Someone that's in prison you don't know, you're in a lockdown situation, you've got a lot of things going. So we require that our teams take a trauma class that we've provided, and we've also made a class, and I hope we change the name to this, but it's called Positivity for Prisoners. One of my interns wrote the program and did a really, really good job. So our teams have to go through everything. They have to be at the advanced level, which is the highest level. They have to have their master's certification, which again is another whole thing that we do, and then take these 2 classes. And that's us. And then there's prison requirements where they have to go through fingerprinting and background checks and orientations and all those kinds of things. So somebody has to really want to do that and make a commitment to do that. But it's very rewarding, and the folks that we've got in visiting, and we've been visiting, I think, Baylor for 2.5 months now, which doesn't sound like a long time, but if you have 5 or 6 teams in a week, times that, you get a lot of visits out of that, and all of them, all of our teams are just so happy to be there. They're finding it very beneficial for themselves as well as the ladies that are there.
Right, and I'm sure, I mean, it's definitely, like we said, it's a gift for everyone involved. So, well, can you tell me one of your favorite memories or stories of a visit that you had as a therapy team?
Do you have 5 hours?
We have about 2-3 minutes.
There you go.
If you can.
Okay, well, you're going to get the back of the head of this dog. Yes, and it just happened recently, so I think it's very significant. We have a program called PAWS by Special Request, which means that anyone can call us and say, you know, my friend is really depressed and we need a visit or whatever, and then we go one-on-one to where that site is. This woman called, a wonderful woman called, and basically her husband, who is only 68, is in early stages of dementia. And when people are in that situation, you get at your wit's end. What do? He's still at home. He's still functional and cooperative. But what do? You have to watch all the time. Anyway, the neat thing was that we were at a de-stress session at a local business, because we do de-stress sessions for businesses, and the daughter of this family called or I'm sorry, was visiting there with our teams and went and said, this is great, this would be great for my dad. So anyway, the woman did, fill out the form. We called, and we have 2 teams that are going. One is a gentleman and his blind dog, which is a very special kind of visit. And another is a woman with her 2 golden retrievers, one at a time. And what they do is they knock on the door and they go in and they sit with this gentleman and just talk and do whatever. Sometimes, his sentences aren't total, but he's very friendly. And his wife has said, as soon as the dog comes, he relaxes, and when he relaxes, he'll speak more. And then after we're finished and we're leaving, he's more calm, he eats better, he sleeps better. So there are residual things. But the funniest thing is that we got an email from the woman saying how wonderful it was and how glad she was we were doing that. But did we notice that the gentleman, my gentleman's hat, was not with him, that the man that we were visiting happened to keep his PAWS hat. And so she sent a picture of him in the PAWS hat, which is really cute.
Oh, that's
so
great.
What we're doing is we're going to give him a PAWS hat, so for special visits and that kind of thing.
That's wonderful.
People need to feel special. And it's as good for his wife as it is for him, maybe even better. It's an hour a week that is just taken with something positive, and she knows this is good for him.
Well, I have so many testimonials that someone from your company, I can't remember, was it not Roberta, who sent me the testimonials?
Ro,
yeah, and I was just crying reading them. They were just so beautiful. And one that I really loved was about a little boy who was in the hospital at Nemours. I'm actually not going to read it because we don't have a lot of time left. But the reason why it touched me so was because my son was in the hospital at Nemours having a blood draw. Well, he had to have multiple to get to the bottom of something. And he was 2 years old, freaking out. Well, your dogs came in. And much to the sentiment of this man who wrote the testimonial, I can attest to it. The dog calmed down my 2-year-old when it sat there and he can snuggle with him. And at that moment, sorry, I'm touching my mic, I had the sense, a wave of relief just came over me. So it was just such a special thing. And then he had to be there several times, so he was also able to collect trading cards.
Yes,
so different dogs that he got to pet.
Cards.
It's amazing. What a great program. So thank you. Thank you for providing this. And
you're welcome. It is our pleasure in all ways. It certainly is.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. And I just want to, and Tori, thank you for
Tori,
being here.
can you
Sorry,
get up?
Let me just
look,
give you one more.
There's a dog there.
Yeah, there he is. Well, it's been such an honor spending time today with Roberta and Tori and learning all about the PAWS for People program. If you and a furry friend, dog, cat, or bunny, right?
That's right. PAWS, all PAWS.
Would like to learn more about how to train to be a therapy team, or if you know someone who would benefit from pet therapy, visit pawsforpeople.org. Thank you for watching Community Voices. Make it a great day, and I'll see you next time.